In a world where news flies around every minute, you need the ability to relate and connect with what matters and stay up to date. Schengen Story Media News Echoes program is Africans in Diaspora and at Home's leading English news network, one of the most trusted, respected sources for news updates on current affairs as they affect global Africa. SSM's Wednesday Global Africa program brings to you our news stories, exclusive reporting, and SSM perspectives on the day's top news. Plus, the inside scoop on Africa's most important developing stories. Join us on Wednesdays, 11 a.m. West African time.
And this is that Wednesday, 11 a.m. African time. And it's 12 p.m. European time, 5 a.m. Canadian time, and also in different parts of the world, on and on. You're welcome. You're welcome to Wednesday African Updates, SSM. My name is Mark Godwin Junwa, and I'm here with my coordinators from faraway Lagos, Nigeria, is Ogbeni Olayinka Raji. Ogbeni Olayinka Raji, you're welcome. Raji, can you hear me? Okay. I think we have network issue there. Joining us far away, Toronto, Canada, is our big brother, Sir George Chukwu. Sir George Chukwu, you're welcome.
Good morning, Mark Godwin Iwaju. Viewers from around the world, we want to welcome you to our show today. It's going to be a fantastic one.
Yes, Sir George, indeed. I know you've been following a lot of events there, so we might just do small news follow-up, then we come to the main agenda for the day. Part of that news follow-up is something that is brewing. George, you spoke to it this morning in the group, and we have a guest here, a special guest in the show that will also elaborate more, because he's a major stakeholder in the diaspora community from Nigeria. So I'm talking no other person than Honorable Kenneth Chibogu Gbandi. Honorable Kenneth, you're welcome to SSM Wednesday African Updates.
Thank you so much, Mark, for having me on the program.
Yes, thank you also for honoring this very brief invitation, and you were able to make it. Sir George, it's something you also were talking about. They said the diaspora, Nigerian diaspora, are sponsoring this protest, and they say that they are on a watch list. They'll be apprehended if they enter Nigeria. This is coming from the immigration boss, Controller General of Nigerian Immigration Service, Kemi Nana Nipan. So Kemi is saying things, some bogus words there. She's using some words. George, before I come to you, Sir George, Honorable Kenneth, a major stakeholder in the Nigerian community in diaspora, also had a response to that. And he did that on a popular website called African Heritage Magazine. So, Sir Kenneth, yes, we want to hear more from what you were saying. Some of your words in that response were such statements are remnants of the tactics used by oppressive regime to silence dissidents. You also said it's a ploy to cow Nigerians in the diaspora from criticizing bad governance. So let's hear more of that, Sir Kenneth. What are those words you're saying?
I mean, when you hear, it's frightening since the bad government protest. It's frightening that almost every organ of the federal government has now become a spokesperson of the presidency, and what you hear, is threat and intimidation, and the last one coming from immigration boss. I mean, when you throw out a very loosely statement that Nigerians in diaspora are sponsoring the End Bad Government protest, and that they are on the watch list and they are going to be picked up once they get into the country. These are statements coming from countries like like Russia or the Idi Amin regime of Uganda. If you have a specific proof that you have Nigerians in diaspora who are sponsoring bad governance protests, you should name them by name, and just not to throw out a loosely word out there, which is actually meant to intimidate people. By the way, the last time I checked, protest is a fundamental right guaranteed under the Constitution. And so if anybody in Nigerians in diaspora are helping people to go to the street for a peaceful protest, what's wrong with that? So trying to tell us that we shouldn't criticize this government, whether they are doing good or they are doing bad, and if we do that, we stand the chance of being arrested, is quite uncharitable. And I think it's something that all Nigerians in diaspora, all well-meaning Nigerians in diaspora, should rise up in unison and criticize.
Thank you very much. Sir George, viewers, first of all, let me do another formal introduction of the man that's speaking. Honorable Kenneth Gbandi is a prominent leader within the Nigerian diaspora community. So as a major stakeholder, yes, he has the right to make response to whatever is being said that is not said well. So Sir George, you were echoing same thing like Honorable Kenneth Gbandi just said now. What's further on that? Those your statements. How do you see this? I mean, accusing us.
I think it's appointing some of these people that are ignorant about international laws, appointing some of these people that are very ignorant about the state of affairs of the connection between the diaspora and Nigeria. That's one of the functions that what I'm seeing here, because if you read that thing, it's a threat. And as a matter of fact, somebody like me will go and do it and go to Nigeria. They have to touch me, because she will be removed from that. We will do a protest around the world that will remove her from that position. We have that mandate, and we have I'm in Canada right now. I lived in the US myself, and my constitutional right as a Nigerian that extends to where I am, because they share the same constitution. You tell me that I will come to my country, you pick me up for what? For exercising my constitutional right? It is a function of ignorance, if you ask me. Because if somebody that knows the Constitution of Nigeria, Section 39, that talks about the freedom of expression, freedom of speech, and have the right to hold a peaceful assembly, and then you come throwing that thing there. Honorable Gbandi, thank you so very much for really bringing another aspect of this into the whole equation. Because one of the problems we have in Nigeria is sycophancy. That's what it is. Every department wants to come out. The military is coming out and threatening. The police is coming out and threatening. At the beginning of this particular thing, since the announcement of this protest against the bad government, what we have seen is not saying, okay, go and do your protest. Please make sure that it's according to the law. Do this, do that, do that. Everybody is coming and throwing stones already, demonizing the constitutional rights of Nigerians to go out there and do what they're supposed to do. From the onset, I can guarantee you, part of the problem that we're having today is because of this demonization of this protest. And that is what's making people rise up. Such statement will make me, I will do one here and go to UK and do another, and dare her to touch me where there is no violence. She would dare not, because internationally, they will put it on her. Canada will come after her, and she will not be able to travel out of Nigeria to many of the countries. We have the right, we can do it and put our name out there. So let's be enlightened and educated about some of the things that we say out of our mouths, because the more they talk, the more their ignorance is exposed. And that's what really makes this whole entire thing, just very, you're like, where did she come from? What school did she go to? Because somebody who is enlightened and educated, before they make a statement, ought to go and check and make sure that what they are saying is not, violating the Constitution or the human rights of an individual or people. Look at what diasporans are doing in Nigeria. Up until today, we are not even able to vote. What we've been fighting for the past a decade, they have not given us the constitutional right to vote. What our other countries, smaller countries around the world are doing here in Canada and in the US. And then you come up in here talking about if I protest about against bad government. When I'm sending money to Nigeria because of the difficulties in, of Nigerian government, what are you saying about that? Is it not increasing helping the economy of the nation? Do you know how many billions of naira or trillions of naira that are being sent monthly to Nigeria to help the people so that they will not die? And she got the effrontery to come out and talk that kind of thing. She needs to go back to school if she needs to. Let's re-educate these people about international laws.
All right,
I'm so
George.
sorry.
George, I know you're passionate about your country, Nigeria, and you're passionate about the people, and also angry with what the government does.
Yeah,
That's why we are so fortunate also to have with us Honorable Kenneth Bandi. Honorable Kenneth Bandi,
that's right.
George made some points, and one of it is Nigerians in diaspora can't still vote. We don't have any say in governance. I know you're doing a lot. You just came back from Nigeria. Tell us, what are some new steps towards some of these things we lack, some of these things diaspora wants to see? What are some steps you observed while in Nigeria?
Well, I think, like I said,
go ahead.
We have people in offices that are not supposed to be there because they don't even understand, the fundamental rights of most Nigerians. We're happy we have, people like, Ned Nwoko. We have people like Sal Okere, who is the chairperson on Diaspora, and they're beginning to speak out. That there's a need for us, the country, the community, the segment of the community of the constituents that is keeping this nation alive in terms of economics, in terms of remittances, are not even allowed to exercise their fundamental, right to vote and be voted for. And yet somebody is coming to tell us that, you see, coming back to the core of the matter, and just like Sir George rightly, stated, it is very, very dangerous because if Mark or if Sir George or my humble self decide to send money home, to help those of our folks who are suffering out of, bad governance that this country is producing, somebody who is very jumpy in the administration can just wake up and say that those money you're sending to help your folks, to get things, to get across this bad time, that is the money used to sponsor them to go out and protest. That's why it's dangerous that, such statements should not go unchallenged. Because they could frame anybody up, they can use it at will, even maybe probably donation to a church, to a charity organization, to your folks suffering back home, to come by. They will just frame it up as a sponsorship of demonstration for bad governance. By the way, like I said, and like George rightly, stated, what is wrong in a peaceful protest? What is wrong in people demanding accountability to their leaders? What is wrong with that? Rather than giving them the constitutional right and the framework to do that without allowing government-sponsored hijackers to come and disrupt the protest. They are there, demonizing people. So I think it's a very dangerous thing. That's the more reason why Nigerians in diaspora, should get the right to vote. That's why the Nigerians in diaspora should get the right, to participate in the political re-engineering from Nigeria, because these are the people. At least I'm not saying that all of them, but at least some of them can bring in the best international practice in governance and be able to, to let the government know that doing the right thing, or somebody asking you to do the right thing does not amount to, to negatively criticizing you. I think, again, I like the stand George is taking, and I call on all Nigerians in diaspora, to do the same, sitting down in the comfort of our zone, allowing people to go on the front line on our behalf, and still, pretend as if nothing is happening in Nigeria. It's evil. And I think we should be able to, to call out evil when we see one, and be able to condemn bad government when we see that. Let the immigration chief know that such threats does not, really bother people like us. If you have a proof that we are sponsoring, people who are sending money to their folks, to survive this bad economic hardship, are sponsoring, what she termed as a bad sponsorship or sponsoring bad government. It should be ready to build enough prison in Nigeria or enough cell in Nigeria to keep 19 million Nigerians in her custody for helping their folks at home. I mean, these things are so annoying. Anyway, Mark, I said, I get to catch a flight, the next flight, and I promise I'll be very brief on your program before I head up to my next assignment.
Yes, sir. You said so. You're catching up the flight. We're so happy to have you here, Honorable Gandhi. There are some things you said, but maybe George and I will continue on those words. Yes, somebody could send money to a foundation, a program, a project now at this point in time, and they will say it's the money they are using to facilitate.
Absolutely. Before I go, Mark, let me give a very good example. And I think we're on national TV. Yes, I remember that when my administration under Nigerians in Diaspora Organization in Europe, when we secured $2.5 billion US, I repeat, $2.5 billion US for housing projects in Nigeria, somebody in the presidency got up and said that the money was meant to be to sponsor IPOB. And that was how, rescuing Nigerians from hard economic, housing problem was just that, so people can, such things are very, very dangerous. And I think every well-meaning Nigerian should not just sit on their comfort zone and allow it to go unchallenged.
Honorable Bandi, let me just sound a serious warning to the government officials in Nigeria. We have rights here in abroad where we live, and we have ways and means of stopping them from entering into any country that we are residing in. When they begin to do things like this, we can rise up, put their names whereby they cannot get visa to come into Canada. With this type of situation, we can put it up. So one of the things they fail to realize, simply because we are operating with civility and love for our country and our people, does not mean that we don't know what to do. When we put her name right, if I write her name right now to the Canadian government and insist that she cannot enter this country, she will not be able to enter this country. She better understand that some of these people that are stealing our money, going into country like Canada to buy houses and all that, we can fish them out and make them a public display of all of them. So let's sound the warning, not because we don't know. We love our country. We love our country. Look at you now, you're catching a flight. For the love of your nation, you are here. You are here this morning, running the risk of, maybe traffic, holding you, to catch your flight. That's the love of the nation that you have, that is fueling you being here. It's a sacrifice as far as I'm concerned. So let us be very, very careful with this, because sometimes they do not understand what we represent where we are. A country like Canada, I have connection all the way to the Prime Minister's office and all the mayors around. And once we do this, they will not be able to enter into Canada. So is that what we want, to destroy one another? That's this kind of narrative is something that is, is alien and should not be allowed.
Thank you very much. All right,
you go, please.
Let's allow. Sorry, George. Let's allow. Yes. He said, I told him 5 minutes, big brother. Please just call.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you doing the good work. Nigeria is our country. We have no other country than Nigeria. We are not going to run out to anywhere. Let's keep doing the good work, and at the end of the day, we'll prevail. Bye-bye.
Mr. Biden, yes, thank you so much.
All right, George. George, thank you too. George, you're good at adding to the voice and sounding it, even echoing it more. George, so that's the situation. This woman have said this and even threatening that they have people in their watch list. I mean, how do you threaten people? And now
people that don't even have
what they will do now, George. Another thing they will do now is they will add probably friends and family members they have grievance with. She'll just add it to this and say, yes, this one too is sponsoring them. Maybe grievance on other matter or on different things, and they will just mobile up all people and say, these are the people sponsoring the protests. Crazy. Let's welcome Olayinka Raji.
My man. Okuruman, Olayinka Raji.
Raji, can you hear us? The network is not doing too well today. the
Are
internet.
you sure they're not fighting him?
Raji, have they started putting you on the watch list?
I can hear you loud and clear.
Okay.
I can hear you loud and clear. I hope.
Go ahead.
I don't know, because this link has been very, very unstable for the past 1 hour. I listened to a lot of what Honorable Gandhi is saying, and please let me say that I've never met Honorable Gandhi before, but I've had so much respect for him during the politics. Every time he says something, I listen to him. Honorable Gandhi, I wish you God's strength. I wish you continued sound health. Now I wish that you'll be yes, under the government of Delta State.
Oh yeah. And he was saying some very strong things there.
Important things, yes.
So that's it, George. George, let's move on. Or do you have any other thing to add to?
No. Basically, that's it. That's it. And by the way, let's sound this alarm. If I'm coming to Nigeria and I go to the embassy, Nigerian embassy, and I'm using my Canadian passport or US passport to come to Nigeria, and and then I get a visa to come to my own country, nobody dare touch me.
They can't,
because the weight of Canadian government will fall upon them instantly.
No, she's bluffing. I mean, how can you?
No, she doesn't be bluffing. We're not bluffing either.
What are the evidence? And that's what Gandhi was saying. Let her bring evidence. Let's see those that the list and what they did, how they now assume that they sponsored protests. So they have to have a list. You don't just wake up and say somebody sponsored protests when you're not sure about that. Okay, George, let's move on. George, let's talk about what's happening close to you there. Kamala Harris has picked her running mate, and they did their first campaign appearance yesterday in Philadelphia. What do you know about Tim Walz? What's the story? What do you know, George? What have you?
Yeah, Governor of Minnesota. He's not. He's a very powerful man, but very quiet also. And these are the type of people. When you hear him yesterday, during the announcement, you can understand that he's a seasoned politician and a patriotic American. So I think he's a great pick because they went through fine-tooth comb to check and the backgrounds of everybody. And everybody was thinking that he would have been Shapiro, the governor from what do you call it again, Pennsylvania.
Yes.
So but I think that this is a pick because possibly they have checked the background and there is no gal in the man for them to pick up and want to throw stones later. So I think it's a fantastic. But the chemistry between both of them yesterday was just incredible when I was watching it. So I think he's a great pick, and I think it's going to be a fantastic ticket between the two. Fantastic. I can tell you right now. I can tell you, the Republicans are in a chaotic, emotional mood.
No.
And they don't know which way to go. They're confused. I'm serious because of the kind of support that Kamala Harris is having, and the more. And right now, what is happening is when the leash on Trump is loosed, he will make so many mistakes. That's what he does, because if he loses his, once he gets to his under his skin, he will start lashing out. He will not follow the written speeches and all that. He will start throwing stones all over. But this time, a lot of youths are involved.
This time,
because when he went to Georgia, and started talking about the governor in Georgia and saying something like, let him get off his and go and do some things. Did you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I understand very well.
We are in that place, and I can guarantee you, if we go and get a camera, you will see some kids that would have done like this. looked at their parents like, whoa, he said that? Seriously, he loses it.
He loses it. Okay, Raji, Yinka, we really need to hear your voice, your network, whatever is holding that network. If they are putting on a watch list, we pick it off, we lose you, and we set you free.
All right, Karachi. That's all right.
You can tell us how is
I am formidable.
Yes, you are
formidable.
I am formidable. Yes.
What's your take on the?
I can withstand any persecution.
I trust you.
You see, I just don't like the way they are persecuting. Yes, I don't like the way persecution has now been brought into the whole thing. Yes.
Very true. Very true. Go ahead. Go ahead. We are hearing you.
No, it's persecution. I've mentioned it before.
Okay.
That's why is that Tinubu wanted the protest. Yes, they wanted the protest to go on so that he can use it as an excuse for persecution, and it has started because the protest was easily preventable. But he.
Okay. Yes, he's saying some important things there. All right, George.
Yeah.
I'll just move on also.
In continuance with what he was saying, the protest was preventable if it was managed from the time that the announcement was made by these groups to do that protest. If he had managed it, according to what Alain Karachi was just saying, it was preventable. There is a way that Asiwaju would have come out as a father, as an elderly statesman, as a father, as a politician, to deal with his subjects. It would have prevented all of this. I am telling you. Yes, because there's a way you appease people. There is a way you talk to people. There is a way you make people feel important. But when you neglect them as if they are nothing, and you're gonna go do this, and I'm gonna come against you, or I'm gonna demonize what you're doing. I'm gonna bring the tentacles of Kenya, Uganda, and other places, Bangladesh, into the narratives in Nigeria. Then it becomes a problem. And that's what we're seeing here. Now, it's almost like medicine after death. Because if he had preemptively made a speech to appease the nation, we are working hard, we care about you, we understand the pains that you're going through, but please listen, we are making all the efforts in our, in the government to ensure that some of these problems that have existed prior to my administration, that we are taking care of it. Please give us some time. This is what I'm doing to appease you, to make sure that the poor can breathe in our nation. This is what I'm doing, and this is what I'm doing. I'm curtailing this, I'm doing that. You would have seen the whole entire place. Everybody will be singing his praises. But he ignored the whole entire thing, unleash all his sycophants, from different departments of the government to come and attack. And people will feel like you are no different from me. You are working for me. You might be an executive president, but I employed you there with my vote. You work for me. So, and that is the difference in the governance in Nigeria. I am friends with a governor, a mayor in this city, in a neighboring city here. I go to his office all the time. He's a mayor. But yet, if you see this man, he is a servant leader. That's what Nigeria needs to learn. That you are there not to exercise authority and, flex your muscle. No, you are a servant to the people.
You are a servant to the people. Thank you, George.
Listen to this. I'm going to give one more. After the reign of Solomon, which was the greatest reign in the land of Israel, his son Rehoboam came and wanted to listen to the old people authority. Old people said, if you want to serve these people, you better give them what they want. If you don't give them what they want, you're going to be ruling yourself. Now, what happened? He went and listened to the young people who told them to go and tell them, if my father was a cockroach, I'm going to be a scorpion.
Yes.
What happened? The nation was divided, 10 against 2. So we better be careful and know how to handle our nation. We love our country. Nigeria is the greatest country in the whole entire world. If Nigeria is the way it's supposed to be, I will be there today. Yes.
Thank you, George.
I have no reason to be anywhere else but in my country.
Good. Viewers, yes, you're tuned to SSM Wednesday African Update. We've had some real good talk here. We'll be back. Let's go on a small break. George, thank you.
SSM's Wednesday Global Africa program brings to you our news stories, exclusive reporting, and SSM perspectives on the day's top news. Plus, the inside scoop on Africa's most important developing stories. Join us on Wednesdays, 11 a.m. West African time.
This is everything you need to marry a Nigerian girl. Her father gave me a list of 39 items which include a live goat. The first place I went was the bulk food market to gather the yam, palm oil, baskets of fruit, and dried fish known as eja osun. And it's not just one yam or liter of palm oil, I am buying large quantities. It was pouring rain and I rented boots to make it through the mud, but it is worth it to marry my beautiful bride. In Nigeria, they practice dowry for marriage, paid to the family. In the Yoruba culture, each item is symbolic and not really a payment to the family, but rather proving your worth to marry her. And prove it I did by next heading to the goat market, where I spoke with a house of men to find the meatiest goat. This is the one I picked, and surprisingly, the goat at only $40 is one of the cheapest items on the list. This can't be done in one day, so after the rain cleared, I went to Mushin Main Market to find the kola nut, both bitter and regular, the alligator pepper, the adun, which specifically said I needed to buy plenty, and bottle of raw honey, which symbolizes that our marriage will be sweet. Next, I had to gather biscuits, bulk packs of different drinks, wine, and semen schnapps, as well as a suitcase full of new clothes for my fiancé to prove I can provide for her in the marriage, and lastly, the marriage Bible, as God will always come first. It is possible to pay someone to buy these items, but for me, I wanted the experience myself. Finally, we brought all these items to the family home for the wedding day. It is not easy to marry a Yoruba girl, but my bride is strong, smart, loving, beautiful, and completely worth it.
Nigeria, we hail thee, our own dear native land. Though tribe and tongue may differ, in brotherhood we stand. Nigerian soul are proud to serve our sovereign motherland.
In a world where news flies around every minute, you need the ability to relate and connect with what matters and stay up to date. Schengen Story Media News Echoes program is Africans in Diaspora and at Home's leading English news network, one of the most trusted, respected sources for news updates on current affairs as they affect global Africa.
Yes, George, we're back. Viewer back. You're back to SSM Wednesday Global Africa Update, news update. George, let's come to some other news also. There's not too pleasant news coming from Ethiopia. George, I don't know if you are feeling that. Ethiopia has a landslide that has killed, now it's getting to 17 people in South Ethiopia, and it doesn't look like it's getting better. The landslide is happening somewhere in the south of Ethiopia. Kindo Didaye is experiencing landslide, and we hear that about 300 people in that town have been evacuated, and a lot of people are missing. So this is what we are seeing. Some people will say it is a global warming situation. Some people will say it's people not checking their environment and knowing what to do at the right time. But anyway, we have with us our guests, our coordinators, Raji, and also joining us from Lagos, Nigeria is BD Nana. BD, you're welcome to Wednesday African Update. Can you
Yeah,
hear?
good morning. Good
Good.
morning, viewers. Sir George,
Good
Massive, good
morning,
morning. Good to
BD.
be here again this morning.
Yes,
Well,
we're happy to
welcome,
be here.
welcome. We thank you for being here to brighten up our day. You are like a sunshine in a cloudy weather.
Thank you,
Wow,
Sir
only
George.
you. Okay, let's go on with more of the news. Raji is really having a network problem there. Let's come back to the protests, Sir George, BD. The the End Bad Governance protest is still on the burner. What we've had yesterday is the service chiefs, the IGP, chief of staff, chief of naval, all of those IGP, all of those service chiefs said yesterday that they are going to defend Nigerian democracy at all costs. They say they won't allow people to take this spoiled democracy. So my question here, George, is does defending Nigerian democracy means people won't be allowed to express themselves, like you said earlier on, George? And does that mean that the country too will not take care of its citizen? So defending democracy, how do you defend democracy if you're looking at one side? If you're just looking at the leadership side, you're not looking at the citizens' concern, you're not looking at expression of people's thoughts and action. BD, let's hear more from you on this. The IGs say they'll do everything. So now what that means is they'll probably roll out tanks, more security men, more mobile officers, and all that. Tell us.
Yeah.
Can you hear me, BD?
To respond to Sir George, who is
Yes, you respond. Yes, you're in. Yes, go ahead, BD. George and I have been talking.
That's actually what we're seeing. The president first sent them to crack down on the protesters, and they've said that they will do that. Like you said, we live in a country where we proclaim democracy, but what we actually have in Nigeria is not democracy, because this protest actually started on 1st of August, and these people he's calling now, they saw it, and they never advised the president to at least listen to the voice of these people, listen to the voice of the masses, do something. But what they are doing now is that they are coming out saying that they are going to crack down on people, protecting democracy. Why? What is democracy? They say democracy is government of the people, for the people, and by the people.
By the people.
But it's obviously that what we have in Nigeria today is not democracy. Because if it's a democracy, they would listen to the people and dialogue. Now, they are saying that protesters should stop and come to the round table to dialogue. They were giving this warning of this protest for a month and 2 weeks. I was aware. The first day that flyer came out, I was aware. I noted it down. A month and 2 weeks. And the government called the Nigerians bluff. They didn't care about what is going to happen. Now this protest has started because they know that the protest will not start. You know why? The people who are saying that they wouldn't watch the democracy being destroyed. We don't have democracy in Nigeria. They keep putting every blame on PDP, 16 years in power. During the PDP, we had different type of protests, and the people had their way. It was in the PDP that they had Occupy Nigeria, which this president was part of it. And when the President Jonathan reduced the fuel price, he came online and rejoiced and gave his speech. People protested. People spoke up. Look at what we are seeing today. Even the press, the media, they were abusing the media. They were stopping the media from covering events. They were telling the media that they can't be here. We saw it online. Yeah. Handling the media in a way that is supposed not to. Do you understand? And you come to tell me you want to defend democracy. No, they are not defending democracy. Nigeria. 9 years. In that 9 years in Nigeria, we've not had any successful protest in Nigeria. The only protest we managed to have by force was NSAS. You know how it ended. We all know how it ended. And you're telling me democracy. There's nothing democratic about this government and APC.
Okay.
There's nothing democratic about it.
Thank you. Thank you.
The former,
Yes.
the former deputy.
Thank you, Billy. So, yes, George, serious issues, but part of some of the.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yes, part of the proceeds coming out of all of this, also, George, is that from nowhere, some people were flying flags of another country. Now, yesterday, they've said that the Nigerian they've caught some people, about 6 Polish,
69 of them.
Yes, 6 and some Nigerians and 69 other nationals.
Some people from Poland.
Yeah, Poland, 6 of them. So, George, what I want to ask is
what we're saying is this: I applaud once again, in spite of everything that is going on. I applaud the service chiefs. I applaud them. The reason why I would say so is simply because of this. There has been an infiltration of some of the things that are happening. Look at this. In our own country, they are flying Russian flags there. It is treasonable and it's not allowed. You don't do that. And this is the influence of Niger Republic. So we should not. Nigeria is a sovereign nation and must be respected as so. So to have indigents or people that are coming from another country or whatever the case might be to come up over here and start to dictate to us the type of people that we should have affiliations with or countries that we should have affiliations with is unacceptable, intolerable. Therefore, because of all these narratives and all these things that are going on around, that's the reason why the government, the service chiefs came out and say, we stand with you, our president, on this democratic rule, and we stand with you and we'll do whatever we can to ensure that there will not be any type of interruption or infiltration of people to bring any other type of government in our country. We love our country. We love democracy. All we need to do is to practice it efficiently and effectively for the government of the people, so that people can enjoy their nation. People are dying daily. They are not enjoying, whether we like it or not. I applaud them for coming out and standing with with their President Tinubu. They ought to, because they ought to have one voice. I love it. But let's not militarize our country by taking away the constitutional rights of people. And let's stop all these intimidating tactics that are being brought out there to prevent people from exercising their constitutional rights. We need to make sure that it doesn't happen that way. Yes, indeed, we stand with you by standing with the president that we maintain and will fight for democracy in Nigeria. But let's make sure that the fruits that come out of democracy, that the people that you are governing are enjoying it. Not because all this, all of them are in their big offices earning big salaries and people are dying. Let's make sure that we understand there is compassion in governance. They ought to exercise that. So
yes, thank you,
I'm
George.
with them.
So yeah, very good. That's what this network stands for. Viewers listening, whoever you are that is listening, federal government of Nigeria that is watching and listening, SSM stands for One Nigeria. We believe in the sovereignty of Nigeria. We are all Nigerians also from different parts of Nigeria and in different parts of the diaspora angle. So we want the best. We want progress. We want good. BD, one man that came to blow up the lead is a former senator called Shehu Musa Sani, a former senator representing Kaduna. He said money was given out to those youths that were carrying the flag. And we found out, like George said earlier, some nationals, Polish nationals, all of these people are capitalizing on that whole protest to infiltrate and turn it to something else. So, but do you think at that point the protest also should hold on, because so that we can understand what they are trying to do? I mean, maybe take over our country. BD is gone. George, do you understand what I'm saying? So don't you
Yes.
think holding up the protest at this point with this Russian flag flying and all these plans, that strange, mischievous movements, don't you think we should hold up the protest so that we understand and really get to know?
I don't think we should hold off the protest.
Okay.
Simply because there are fake naira out there on the streets does not mean that we have to do away with the entire naira. Let's fish out the fake naira and find out the people that are printing that money and put them in jail. That's what we're supposed to do, and keep our money circulating, the real one. Do you understand? So now that we have identified, and it's so funny how Poland will come to be, putting out Russian flag. Poland is afraid of what Putin is doing. They're even one of the countries that are so concerned over, Putin and Ukraine, and the possibility that if he wins Ukraine, they will be the next one to be annexed. So I'm not quite sure I understand that. I think money must have been the motivating factor here.
Yeah,
because some people made a lot of money by showing all these flags and giving that out to people. Somebody must have been. By the way, there is something that we really need to pay attention to, and this is very important.
Okay.
During the protests that we have been having, have you noticed the increase in the protest from the north and the narratives of changing government? Have you noticed that?
Okay.
It's not been that way before. It's coming from one area and one area alone. And part of the reason why this is, the northerners have enjoyed the military rule and rule that comes from their own side, where the leaders have the impetus to change the whole conversation about the constitution. This constitution, 1999 constitution, was largely influenced by the northerners. That is why the southerners are crying. We need to change the conversation and reshuffle this whole entire constitution in order to have an even playing ground for the whole entire nation to operate from. You were saying something.
Yes. I was going to say that, yes, Polish people getting involved in that strange arrangement of flying the Russian flag. Yes, it's possible, because countries do sow this seed of discourse among themselves, and they do this to create real mad confusion. So Poland could have done this so that Nigerians would say this Russia is the enemy. Russia has infiltrated into their sovereignty, and we begin to look elsewhere instead of, So yes, all of this it plays out well in when you work with some agencies, some secret agencies, and all that. This is how they play out. Throw around this kind of indicators and all this to create confusion. All right, George, let's move on. So there's still more crackdown going in Uganda. We will not talk much on that. And there is also the Kenyan protest that is still raging, having some real bad effect on their economy. So Raji, let's talk about, George. George, let's talk about, in the midst of all this, Tinubu still appoints new heads for agencies. He's still making appointments. And we already used to say that our governance is too extravagant. Our governance is it's too bogus. We're too many agencies that says one thing. Remember that man's report that they've not followed, the honor the report last time. And now we're adding more and more and more and more. George, what do you say?
What I see is confusion. What I see is confusion. What I see is, I believe that, personally, Tinubu have a good, this man have a passion to look good, to help Nigeria. But what I think the first wrong thing he did when he entered into this administration was to announce removal of subsidy. We are suffering. Part of the reason why this protest is taking place today is because of that removal of subsidy. Let's understand, because it is the dominant effect of that removal of subsidy that is making the nation, be in a deplorable state that we are in today, and that's what's fueling this. Now, him appointing more people, I believe they are in a state of quandary. They are in a state of confusion. They are looking for answers wherever they can. They feel like if we can fill up this place with all kinds of people, maybe the answers will come. But what it entails is basically that they don't even know the questions and they're trying to give you answers. And that is what it looks like. By people are saying, shrink your government, you are appointing new people. Why can't you wait until everything dies down and then you can bring it in slowly? While in the midst of the whole entire chaos in the nation, you are appointing more people when part of the demand is shrink your government. What does that look to the people? Would it make them to calm down or would it make them to rise up even more? Just think about it.
Thank you, George. BD, we're talking about yesterday's appointment of new head of agencies. Now, what happened to the Ore Sonye's report that we thought will be embedded into our governance? Already, we're saying there's so much waste, governance waste, and now they are adding more agency, more departments, more organizations. BD, tell us what's your take on this?
The thing is this: majority of us don't understand the man called Tinubu and how he works. Orasaya reports, he just used that thing to daze our appetite. They make us feel like, oh, this man is in the right direction. He's working with people, whereas he's just doing what he wants to do. Now, the appointment he did, it has nothing to do looking for idea. There's this, I hate to hear when people say people are sponsoring the protests in Nigeria. Yes, I know the people that are sponsoring the protests in Nigeria. I have their list. And their list is hunger, high cost of living, high cost of fuel, high cost of electricity. The lists are numerous. I can't even mention all of them here. Those are the people actually sponsoring this protest in Nigeria. Nobody started off and started sponsoring this protest. Maybe along the line, people now feel, oh, I want to be part of this. Nobody, there's nothing, these people are saying this thing just to divert attention from where it is. The appointment President Tinubu made is because he's afraid. He feels that the Northerners are against him. So if you understand that this administration, appointment means compensation. He uses an appointment to compensate people. So this appointment he did now is because he wants to use it. If you look at it, majority of the people he appointed was in Northerners. He uses the appointment to compensate people, to silence them, to make you feel, oh, don't talk. You too, you get your own share. That is what his appointment is. They don't care. They are not there to, deliberate or to brainstorm towards things that will benefit an average Nigeria. So that is just it. No one is sponsoring anything. The flag will stop flying in the north. The thing is this. One thing you people don't understand about the north. I actually interviewed one of them. He said, that we are tired of US, we are tired of UK. They are our major problem. We don't want them again. That we need Russia to come and rescue us. And I asked him, if you think that even when Russia comes in, they will not be like the UK and the US. He said no, that their pattern of rulership is quite different. So do you understand? So nobody is sponsoring anything. The people that are flying this flag, they know their motive. That flying of flag is not part of any bad government protest. Do you understand? And somebody reliably told me that flying of flag is that they are using it as a part of N500, but they are using it to destabilize the protests.
Okay.
Because if you look at what is happening now, is that they are beginning to arrest people who are flying the flag.
Yes.
They will not use it to destabilize this. And when the person told me this, you can't underestimate this government. There's nothing they cannot do. I'm telling you, the things you can't even imagine. they would do it. So if somebody told me that this thing is still an APC game plan to destabilize the protest, I might believe the person. Do you understand? So president came out in the midst of this. Now, all these people that are saying all these things, no one has even said, oh, sir, why don't you listen to these children? Even if we have about more than 10 people they listed, at least attend to 2. Do you understand? He has not even attended to one.
Biddy, we should not allow ourselves to get into conspiracy theories. We should not allow that. We are it's not good. The point is this, for this group of people to come together, and start, sowing Russian flags and giving it to people, and the government has nothing to do with it. And I don't see any government who is going to go out and shoot them.
I didn't say government is part of it. I said
someone. No, you said that someone said.
No, she said someone said. Yes,
that's good. That's conspiracy theory. That's a conspiracy theory. That's conspiracy. We should not, allow ourselves to get into it. I mean, the point is, how can they be the sponsors and then arrest the people and put them in jail? Doesn't make any sense. That's an oxymoron. So what I'm saying is, let's deal with facts here. Not suppositions, because it's not good. That can now go out there and people start, doing all kinds of things.
I interviewed. I didn't say it.
She said,
"What you said you believe it." You said, but you said you believe them.
So let's take this. Let's get this one from BD. BD, they said all the parks, the Freedom Park, the Peace Park in K2, all have been closed, and people are restricted from going there to do any protest. Is that correct, BD?
Yeah, that's what we heard.
Yes. Okay.
And coffee in most states have declared coffee, so no movement again. People are expected to stay indoors. Even in Plateau, now people were like saying, since the first day of this protest, Plateau State has been one of the peaceful states who have been doing this protest. They've come out peacefully, staying at a particular place, doing their protest. And they were the first states to, impose coffee on them. So people were not like, even if you want to impose coffee on some states, it's not Plateau. Plateau have not been violent. They've been peaceful. They come out, they do their protests. At the evening, they sweep and clear everywhere they go.
Yes,
so why imposing coffee on them?
Yes.
Do you understand?
Okay. We saw them sweeping, cleaning up the place. Anyway, this is it, George. It's really sad. We don't know what it's about. BD, you missed the initial of the broadcast. We had a guest, and we talked about the diaspora aspect they've brought in now. And George went head on, diaspora, saying that the diasporans, Nigerian diaspora, is sponsoring the protests.
You see, that's when we start lying to ourselves. You understand? That is when we start lying to ourselves. When we are not in tune with the people on the grassroots.
God bless you.
Is any reasonable human being cannot open up his mouth and say people are sponsoring this protest? Honestly, I don't know if you understand.
Moreover, the woman speaking doesn't even have any evidence. She just and George went in. George really went in. George said that woman should go back to school. She needs to learn the ethics of her office and more on what she does. George, is that not what you said?
That's what I said. Yes.
Yes, because
said it.
You don't just
I trust that George in that area.
You don't just come and say such a bogus thing like that. That's right, Nigeria. Now, what's your evidence? And who are those? Bring the list, like our guest said, Honorable Gandhi. All right, viewers. George, thank you for coming. PD, our time is up. We'll be back on Friday. George, I know the campaign trail continues, so follow up for us Friday.
See, there's something I want to say before we go, please. There's something I want to say.
Go ahead.
Former Vice President of Nigeria, Atiku Abubakar, actually have said to presidency that they should stop shooting protesters in the north, that they should stop shooting them. And the military have actually arrested the military personnel who shot a protestant in Zaria. You see, I really want people in the southern part of Nigeria to see what is happening. You shot someone, they arrest the person. A military was even people who arrest them. They are interrogating the man. They've taken away his uniform from him. Now, you know what I want to bring to that?
Good.
During the NSAS, over close to over 30 people were killed, and nobody
Much
has
more
answered for
than
it
that.
today.
Much more. They were
So
saying
what you are saying,
100 people
nobody
or
has
more.
answered for it. Nobody cares about them. Tomorrow you say the North are doing you, whereas you're the people who do yourself because you don't regard your people. You don't value the life of your people. One processor has been killed in Zaria and they've arrested the soldier. But if it's in the South here, nobody cares. They feel it's gone, it's gone. Do you understand? So most times we should not blame the North. The North, in as much as we feel that not life, they don't value life, but they don't treat their people anyhow, like the way the Southerners would do.
That's
Thank
a good
you for
one.
that.
That's a great one. Yes.
That's a
It's
great
true.
one, George.
It's true.
George,
Yeah.
We didn't have time to talk about the Olympics from the Nigerian point angle. Nigeria seems to be doing
Friday.
well.
We'll talk about it Friday.
Yeah, we'll talk about it on Friday. So, viewers, this is it. Thank you very much, Bidi. You came in and you pulled it up very strong. Thank you for all you've said.
Nigerians beat Canada. Oh, I beat Canada. Oh,
That's a nice one.
We beat you now. So until we come again on Friday, have a beautiful midweek. Bye-bye.
Okay. All right.